first met Kelly in the beauty shop. Oh, we were getting our hair done. That's where I initially met Kelly. Then I started working at the VA, and Kelly came on to the VA working as a nurse practitioner. And then they started the PAC program at the VA, and I became Kelly's nurse at that point.
How was I feeling at the VA? Well, when I first went to the VA, I believe it was 2009, I went crying. I was working at Jackson Hines Comprehensive Health Center as a nurse practitioner. My first job as a nurse practitioner, and I loved it. But I'd always kind of said that I'm going to go and work at the VA. I'm going to work for the government. And so that was like a career goal for me. And when the opportunity presented itself, I left Jackson Hines crying. The VA was so challenging that when I first started, like, I would get nauseous and upset in my stomach every single day that I went to work. But because I had such great training over time, I figured it out, really got my groove, and I was a really efficient nurse practitioner. I enjoyed my job, but it was highly stressful.
The thing I remember the most about my mom working at the VA was that I didn't get to see her like often because of her hours. I remember like the transition from her working at the job she was at before to the VA was very difficult for her, and it was, harder for her to transition. But for the most part, I just remember it being really time-consuming and energy-consuming.
There was one time she was working there, and I would do my videos because we were both doing videos. I would do my video, and she was just so tired of being there. It was like, why am I coming here? And I know that God has something greater for me.
The environment was a bit toxic. I had a demotion while I was there. I was promoted, then demoted. My peers didn't like me so much. And so over time, I just knew that God had more for me. And I said, I'm going to write my way up out of here. And that's how I started writing When God Is Silent. I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be able to retire from here. I don't think I can last that long. But I'm going to write myself up out of here. I didn't even see myself preaching or praying or starting a business. Like, my literal goal was, I'm going to write this book, and this book is going to be my ticket out of here, and I'm going to be a free woman. But over time, the book sold, but it didn't do what I wanted it to do, although I'm not giving up on my book. And then I just realized, okay, well, maybe that's not going to be my way out of here. But I didn't worry too much about that. I just began to pray. I never would have guessed in 1,000 years that beginning to pray on my own was going to lead to praying in the closet and lead to praying in the car. And that actually was my ticket out of the VA and into this life that I know now.
Good morning. Good morning. It is a fantastic Thursday here in Jackson, Mississippi. And I pray that this video reaches you in awesome spirits. Listen,
pray with you
tonight
guys.
is the
Father,
night
right
for the
now,
prayer
Lord, we
line.
rejoice
Oh,
in the
going
beauty
higher
of
in
this
the
day,
Lord. We are
Lord.
gaining
Lord, we
numbers
thank you now that your
everywhere.
legions of
We
angels,
reached
God,
about
are being
700
dispatched to
children
protect
last
us,
week.
to comfort us, to keep us, to guide us, and to bless us, Lord. We thank you right now, God, that our dreams are coming to pass. Our visions are becoming clear, Lord. You're giving us hope and an established end, God, and we thank you for this morning, Lord. We thank you now that you're going before us, making every running path smooth, every crooked place straight, between every high place low, Lord. We thank you now for assistance on every side, God. We thank you right now for the wisdom that is flowing from our lips, God. I already had a Facebook page, the page that we now know, where Warrior Nation meets every morning. But at that time, I thought I was going to be a life coach, an author, a life coach, you feel me? So I would go make videos here and there and give people, encouraging words, but I was not in any shape, form, or fashion coming as a pastor or entrepreneur.
We started off with a prayer line at first and going to women's shelters and praying for the women in the women's shelter. And we was having girl talks all over the state of Mississippi.
She actually came and did a women's conference at my church. And from then on, I really just was intrigued and really motivated to just know God in a better way because of that. So that following week, she actually had a girl talk as well. And I kind of skirted my way in because the event was already closed and people had already paid their way. And I messaged her on Twitter and I was like, can I come? And she was like, sure. So I went in and it was an amazing time there. So after that, I really just started following like everything she did. I started retweeting all the tweets. I started sharing all of her Facebook posts. And she was basically like, okay, I need to figure out who this is and what this is all about and why she keeps messaging me and DMing me and sharing all of my stuff. Because I shared every single thing that she did.
And I remember Brittany and I, we traveled to a mentorship conference that Pastor Cheryl Brady was holding in Texas. And I sat there during the session and I said, Brittany, what am I known for? It's amazing I asked that question. I was like, she's like, Brittany, she's like, huh? I was like, like Tiger Woods, golf. Michael Jordan, basketball. When you say my name, what am I known for? And I remember going to my Facebook page, where Warrior Nation gathers. I looked at all the videos I had been doing for like 2 or 3 years. Every video where there was something about prayer had far more views than any of the other videos that I did. And it was in that moment that I realized, I think I'm supposed to pray.
That, you ready to change your life? And I was like, how'd you know? Because that's a prayer that I just had prayed to God about. I was tired of my life going in circles and I wanted something different. I wanted a change. And she's like, well, God told her to call me. And so from there, we started the 3 a.m. prayer. I was kind of reluctant to 3 a.m. at first. So I was like, okay, I'm only going to come 3 days a week. So then after coming 3 days a week, God told me, like, you need to go every day. So I started going every day.
At one point, she was actually coming to get me from my house because, of course, I did not have my own car. I was using my mom's car. And she was actually coming to get me from home to bring it back to her house for prayer. And then after prayer, she would take me back home after she took the kids to school. And we did that countless, for months before, anything else ever happened. But it was just in their closet. A lot of things happened in the closet. People were calling to come to the closet. They were messaging hey, can I just come sit in the closet? They just wanted to sit there because she spent so much time in his presence in that closet. Everybody, you could just tell that the anointing was in the closet.
It's a thing about going to church and having religion and then having a relationship with God. So now that has developed my relationship with God, me and him more one-on-one times, being intentional about spending time with him, being intentional about my prayer time, being intentional about praying for other people. Whatever the situation is, my first go-to now is prayer. I go to prayer, I go to God because he is the source. And so that has deepened my relationship with him on a personal level.
After that moment in the prayer closet and seeing how much she enjoyed being in that presence and being with him and spending time with him and actually praying, I picked up on it, and I too had gotten to where I was praying all the time. So that really helped me to see her do that and to know that me too, I could do it as well. Even if I wasn't there physically with her, I would also go home. I had made me a prayer corner actually in my room because my closet was not big enough. Even though hers wasn't big enough for the both of us, because my feet are big. But her closet wasn't big enough, so I made a corner myself at home so that when I wasn't with her praying, I would be at home praying as well. So, yeah.
Well, one night we were in prayer. I call it the upper room in her house, and we would just pray, and whatever the Lord was saying, we would always share it at the end. And I just had a really strong sense, and I had a lot of different prophetic words, but I could remember there was one prophetic word in particular that I shared with her that God was about to do something big. He was going to give her a big idea, something, and it was just going to take her to the top. And I don't think it was, she had sowed a seed too in her church at that time. I think she took the last of her money and sold it. And when I brought that word, it just manifested. That t-shirt business just blew up, and overnight, it was like an overnight success. People don't believe in it, but it happens, especially when you're believing God and you're walking by faith.
But through the praying and becoming known for prayer, right? That is how we learned about Avery Anderson's story.
So basically, we got a letter from a warrior in Ada, Oklahoma, stating that Someone she knew had a very traumatic accident, and she ended up with a traumatic brain injury, and green, the seafoam green, was actually the color for the injury. It was like a very heartbreaking letter, and we began to pray on the morning videos for her, like every day.
Avery has now gone home to be with the Lord, but it was through my page becoming a place where I prayed. Cammie Weems, she wrote me and she told me about Avery's story, and I began to pray for Avery in the closet in the mornings on the videos and so forth. And from there, we traveled to Nebraska to pray for her. And when we came back from Nebraska, on the plane, I was like, God, I don't understand why you sent us to Nebraska to pray for Avery and she didn't get up. I don't understand it. Like, I really believed she was gonna get up. Every fiber of my being believed she was gonna raise up in that moment and be 100% healed. And I heard the Lord say, I'm not done yet. And that is how, on that plane, headed back from Nebraska to Mississippi, that I heard the Lord say, I want you to do something in Avery's hometown. Like something in a stadium or outside and like on a football field, something, some type of something. And I want you to call it a night of miracles.
So the event was called A Night of Miracles, hence this is the original shirt, Night of Miracles, in Ada, Oklahoma. And the shirt was basically just a way for us to know the warriors and apart from those who were in Ada and her people. So I put them all nice and neat on the tissue paper on the floor upstairs in the prayer room that we created. And I sent her the pictures. I was like, look, we got them. So this is straight, so we got it all. It was a major event. We had people traveling behind us like from everywhere. People were in line at like 4:30, sitting outside waiting in wheelchairs with walkers, canes, everything, you name it. They were outside waiting. And it was hot because it was summertime. It was burning up outside. You could just see the line just wrapped around the building. It was amazing.
But we walked outside. It was the first time we'd seen the Warriors just actually come together for a meeting. And it was so funny. There were people wrapped around the dome and, just people standing out there. And this was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It didn't start till 6, but they were already there coming in and everything. So that's how I got started with Night of Miracles at all.
And that is why I had the idea to create the t-shirt, so that I would know who these amazing people are, y'all, who are a part of my family. And so we created that shirt. And I remember that instruction, create a t-shirt that says, I believe in miracles. And just as sure as I heard it out of this ear over here, I heard a voice over here saying, nobody is going to buy your shirt. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this for unity. I'm doing this so that I can know who these amazing people are who listen to little old me from Lexington, Mississippi, with this southern drawl and all this stuff I got going on, with a bandana on my head, with the scrubs on, praying in my car that wasn't even my car, it was my grandmother's car, because my car had been stolen. I wanted to know who those people were, and that is why, and that is the sole reason why I created that t-shirt, not knowing what God was going to do. So check this out. When I set up my Shopify store, I didn't even see past the event. So mind you now, I wasn't even savvy like that. So I'm on the site trying to figure out how to set up a store. And it was like, what is the name of your store? And I was like, Warrior Nation? Warrior Nation Apparel? Not so catchy. I've got it. I thought of it in like 45 seconds. Warrior Apparel.
I mean, it just blew up. Everybody wanted the t-shirt, and even though, she had to step out in faith and give everything that she had to get there and get back home, God made it good for her, through that t-shirt business.
The room became just full of clothing. We had it on the floor, and then we had to get tables. The tables ended up bending in the middle, so we had to put some on the table, some on the floor, and then they ended up going down the stairs into the kitchen. She had to get rid of her dining table. She got rid of couches. She got rid of so much furniture in order for the items to fit inside the house. We had shirts, we had blankets, we had sweatshirts, like everything you can imagine we had because of that one t-shirt.
I remember it being a huge deal. But I remember from there, it took up one room in our house, and all of a sudden it was taking up the kitchen, in the hallways, and it started taking up the front of the house, and she had to start sectioning the house like it was like part business, part home, and it kind of got crazy real fast. So
we were doing orders around 3 or 4 in the morning. Crazy, right? And I said, we're just gonna pray in the mornings. We're gonna do orders later. We're just gonna pray in the mornings. And things only got bigger when I made that decision. Like, I remember telling God, when I see $250,000, I'm quitting. $250,000 came and went, and I was still at the VA. I said, okay, when I see $500,000 in gross sales, I'm quitting. $500,000 came and went, and I said, okay, God, I am really scared. But I cannot keep up. And I told you, because that was more money I'd ever seen in my life. And I was like, okay, I know this is getting really crazy, but I always knew I wasn't gonna retire from here. Didn't see it coming this way. And so I went part-time. They created a position for me, wasn't even a thing. But my chief loved me so much. Dr. Burnett loved her so much. She gave me permission to work part-time. I didn't make it 30 days. I could not keep up. And I said, you know what, God, I'm jumping. I'm leaping, and if I fall, then I fall. But I believe if I begin to fall, you'll catch me. And so I put in my resignation. I left in November of 2017, and I have not looked back. When I was leaving, I told everybody I'll be back for Thad. 30 days later, Thad walked off her job, and she joined me in ministry full-time and in the business full-time. And we have not had to look back because God has been so faithful to us.
It took me a month to leave because actually I was applying for another position, which was a higher position at the VA, and that pay would have been $100,000 a year, $100,000 plus a year. And it was something I had to consider, leaving a $100,000 plus job a year to come to do ministry, and we were uncertain of really how it was going to turn out. And so the things I had to consider was I'm a single mother of 3 kids. So I had to really just pray about that before I left. And then the Lord told me, he's like, you can stay here and make $100,000 a year, or you can follow me and make, beyond that. And so I chose to trust the Lord, and here I am.
And then she told me, at some point she was gonna leave. In the beginning I was a little nervous for her because, there's such a large family. But I was confident that in her confidence. And I knew that I didn't know it was gonna be this big, but I knew that she would be okay.
I always knew anything about Kelly, once she put her mind to do something, it's going to be great, it's going to be awesome, and she just had a drive to succeed anything that she tried to. So I wasn't like, you crazy, but go for it, because I saw how God was already moving and changing in her life, so go for it.
You think about it, anytime you're walking off of a 6-figure job, and going into a place where there's literally no income at that time, it's a faith walk. So God had to open that door of income so that she could do the work that he had called her to do. She was believing God for it, and God just gave it to her. She could handle it.
It seemed impossible, but I feel like it's very inspiring. Looking at her do it made me feel like maybe, if I worked a 9 to 5 one day, I could do the same. It also taught me that to always have faith, because it'll take you a long way. Even looking at her, it took her a very long way than what she had.
I was sitting at my desk, and she sent me a text. She said, "Auntie, are you ready to leave your job?" I looked at the phone, I put it down. I looked at the phone, I put it down. I was like, can't be real. So my heart started pounding, can't be real. So I was like, I think I texted her back, "Are you serious?" And she said, "Yes, I mean, you have to come now." And again, my heart started pounding. But I knew that, and I prayed about it. And I saw how, God pulled her from her job. VA, she's a nurse practitioner. Then I knew that God pulled that. Okay, VA, she's a nurse. Okay, Lord, I hear you. I see you. I trust you. So I kept praying about it, and I talked to my husband about it. I prayed about it. But once my husband gave me that yes 2 weeks notice, here you go.
What were people saying? Oh, y'all pray now. Well, I hope that work out for you. You leaving? Man, see, that's why I didn't want to tell anybody I was leaving. Because I already knew what people were going to say. And they were like, you're leaving? Oh, you're going to leave the VA, Kelly. You are not. How could you leave a job like this? What are you going to do? What about retirement? What about insurance? What about your kids? What about your family? What are you going to do? Everybody thought I was crazy. My family thought I was crazy. My coworkers thought I was crazy. I even probably thought I was crazy. I said, crazy or not, here I come. And I just did it crazy and afraid. And I remember my last day of work, when I packed up everything, I was like, Kelly, what are you doing? I walked out of the door, got in my car, left. What did I just do? Because you can't come back. But the next morning when I woke up, and I have to go over there, woo, the freedom. I felt like the chains had fallen. It's funny how I didn't feel it that day. I felt it the next day. That day when I woke up, and I woke up like, oh, you gotta go to work. And then I said, yeah, you're going to work, but you're working for yourself. You're working for the government of the kingdom of heaven. It's different. It hits different. It flows different. It feels different. And I've been celebrating ever since. I've never had to look back, and I'm grateful. We didn't even know that we would need a scale. We didn't know we were gonna need packaging. I thought we were gonna take each shirt to the post office and just ship it off. Because years ago, when I was doing Girl Talk and doing all this motivation, we had shirts and we may have sold about 20 total, and we just one by one took them to the post office. So that's what I thought was gonna happen this time. I was in for the surprise of my life. When scripture says in Ephesians 3:20 that God will do exceeding and abundantly more than you can ask or think, yes, he will, yes, he will, yes, he will. And so, man, even on the way out of the door to Oklahoma, we were shipping out shirts. God just breathed on that shirt. People began to get the shirt, and they could associate the arrival of their t-shirt with a miracle. Something would happen, like a check would be in the mailbox, or some unexplained supernatural thing would happen, and it just blew up. And I remember, even though I didn't see past that t-shirt, I remember God said, once the revival's over, I want you to create I Am Healed. So those were our first two shirts, I Believe in Miracles and I Am Healed. And I know even to this day, that is still God's purpose and plan for Warrior Nation, is that we will walk in the supernatural and that we will walk in healing oils. And so even though that was in 2017, God told me back then what this ministry was going to be about. And those were the very first two shirts that we created. And from there, the rest is kind of history.
I got started with Warrior Apparel. I was picking up my daughter from her house every day from school, and one day I went to her house, and upstairs above the garage in their room, it was a room full of miracle shirts. And it was getting ready to go to Ada, Oklahoma at that time. So every day I would leave and they'll be upstairs with all the shirts. So one day I just decided, do y'all need some help? Because I noticed, it was shirts everywhere from the front to the back, high and low. And I asked, do you need any help? And she said, yes. And so I started helping folding the shirts, organizing the shirts. And from there, it took off from there. And then I think Warrior Apparel birthed from that moment. It went from the kitchen to the living room, to the dining room, to the front room, and it was rows and rows of shirts and t-shirts and the miracle shirts and the healing shirts and faith over fear shirts. It just overtook her home.
We prayed first, did the video, went, and then came back and did the shirts. And when we changed the order that we did that, like, even more orders started coming in, and it was like, okay. And then, but the thing is, like, God, he gave us the grace and the strength and like the energy and the time in order to do that. Even with us only having these 4 people, in order to do that, like, he really gave us the help that we needed, and it was just us.
Her house was full of Warrior Apparel, Warrior clothes, and everything like this, and it was a little overwhelming because you're like, do y'all still live here? Can y'all get in and out? See, Tab was like, Kelly, we got this. We can handle this. And Tab was one that said, scales? We don't need no scales. We can just do this and do this. And about a week later, it's like, we need scales. There's a lot of stuff in here, so.
So starting off, it was very, very hectic. At first, I was a packager, you know, packing the shirts, putting a label on it. Eventually, she taught me how to deal with the computer, print out the labels, choose which carrier it's gonna go to, package them, do everything. So that all started within the house, grew to a building.
I remember it being a huge deal, but like I remember from there, like it took up like one room in our house, and all of a sudden it was taking up the kitchen and the hallways, and it started taking up the front of the house, and she had to start sectioning the house like it was like part business, part home, and it kind of got crazy real fast.
Yeah, I remember walking into Kelly's house one day and I was visiting or something. I can't remember what the situation was, and I came in and saw everybody in the family just spread around the table, shelves everywhere, shirts everywhere. It's like a whole sweatshop in there.
Honestly, I think I was grandfathered in, being the oldest sibling. So of course everyone knows I lived in Georgia. Like the first time I came and I saw all these t-shirts everywhere, and you know, they were from the front door to the living room to the kitchen, and you know, I just kind of, you know, jumped in. I learned how to fold t-shirts and send out packages and, you know, all that good stuff. So that's where my beginning started. My sister would say my beginning started when I changed her pamper.
This whole thing started out with a single t-shirt, and on that t-shirt, those original words, I believe in miracles. From that one t-shirt, obviously within 6 months, the wind of God was all over it. And at this time, I'd noticed that her and Brittany, because you gotta understand, nobody taught her how to do this business. She didn't go to a business school, so this was just them trying to figure this whole thing out as it progressed, right? And trying to make things better, trying to take the store to the next level. And I remember when I came across just what the website looked like. And so that morning I could see this satisfaction in her emotions, in her gestures, in her body language. I think that morning she had looked at some other clothing sites. She admired the excellence in those sites. And I'm telling you, she sat in one place from morning until night, working on her website to perfect it.
I stayed with Kelly because I believe in her vision, and I've seen God work in her life, and I know the beginning to the point that we are now. So just stay steadfast and praying and keep trusting, because he's faithful. And when I say he's been faithful from the beginning, the very beginning to this point. So I'm like Naomi and Ruth, I'm not going nowhere. I'm here to stay.
I remember like it was yesterday, and we began to do some live. We'll go live, right? We'll go live to kind of display some of these clothes. And it was really funny because we got really funny with it. We got really just down to earth with it, and people loved that.
It's very inspiring, because it's just like, who knew that one shirt could go to making millions? So it's very inspiring looking at where it came from and where it is now.
Today we have more people. We have more help. It may not be a lot more help, but it's a lot more help. And the ministry has expanded to heights that I didn't even think of at that time. You know, as far as even doing the morning videos, the production side of this has expanded. The Warrior Apparel has expanded to where we're doing different things. Kelly's Closet, Warrior Fitness, and not just t-shirts. The whole operation has expanded. To see it grow from the beginning to where we had a free t-shirts on the floor, to now where we have a warehouse full of merchandise, and to now we have a production studio to where we record videos instead of using our cell phones in the car. So it has grown tremendously.
I would truly say that I had faith then, but now compared to my days now here, it's over the top. I've grown in my prayer time. I've grown in my worship. I'm able to pray for more people, pray for the nations. I'm able to be more bold in prayer. So in the beginning, I was real quiet and meek, but I don't think they can handle me now.
They finally got a new building, and we moved down the street from Kelly's house, and we moved everything in there. And Tab is another person that says a lot of things that another statement she made was this is the smallest it's ever gonna get. And it's been that small, but you see it keeps growing and growing and growing, so.
It was really fun. Really, some days be very hot. Very, very hot, but also through that time, I learned how to do makeup. It also gave me a sense of confidence, modeling, going to different places, and even also being on the store, looking at myself through the pictures, professional pictures. It just made me feel good about myself.
It's just like we created a stronger family because of it. So it's definitely inspiring, not just because of how successful it's been, but because of how connected she kept everything, you know, and how strong she really built something from the ground.
It shows everyone how faith, believing, trusting, and just being bold and unapologetic about your mission and your purpose gets you. And God did something for Kelly where nobody knew that before she blew up it seemingly overnight, there was a period that she really struggled to try to get to that place. And nobody knew that part of her, you know, putting videos out there, nobody listening, 2 or 3 people jumping on to the one video that went viral and millions saw it. So in the short period of time, because it hasn't been a long time since she's done this, but in the short period of time, it's just like a message of promise and hope to all of us that says that put your hands to the plow, walk by faith, and watch God bring it to pass. And if you do it faithfully, unapologetically, without wavering or wanting to give up, God says, I will do it, and I will do it in my time. And his time for her was, you know, a very short time. For some of us, it may be 5 or 6 years, but we have to stick with the promise.
I think I'm in the process of that now. I think a lot of people know that my goal is to be a real estate agent, and it's something that I've wanted to do for many, many years. I was afraid, fear, and I was reading a book the other day, and it said that fear is selfish, because in the front of fear is I. What if I fail? What if I don't succeed? What if I'm not successful? And that's what I admire a lot about my sister. She's fearless. Like, she will jump out, like, as you can see, we're doing cups now. No one ever thought in a million years that we would be making cups, but it didn't happen the way it was supposed to be or supposed to happen, and then all of a sudden we're all at the table doing cups, and we've actually gotten really, really good at it. But yes, I would say that's where I am now, trying to step out into something. Even though I was a real estate paralegal and a closer and all that, this is something totally new, and I'm excited about it because I know God's got me.
You know, so I saw from the beginning that this woman was a woman who, once she recognizes there's better, she's gonna go after it. You know what I mean? Like that character of always saying, okay, this is good at where it is, but it can be better. And you see that Kelly is not the type of person that talks the talk. Man, she walks the walk. Commitment, which is a very rare attribute, a rare characteristic to have. A lot of people have desires. A lot of people have intentions, but the backbone to see things through, man, that's the big missing link. And that's one of her strongest points. She executes.
To know that you're a part of something that's bigger than you. Warrior Apparel is bigger than Kelly, it's bigger than, you know, the store and everything. It's God's, you know, gifting for us, you know, and it feels good to be a part of it. I'm grateful that she actually let me drive her somewhere and I stayed with her and stuck with her. So I just wanted to tell her thank you for that, you know, because it's been fun. There have been a few nights when it's been long nights, but it's been fun.
Today is more like, it's a purpose, it's a passion, it's fun, it's what I'm birthed to do. It's like, but in the beginning, you kind of like, okay, this is what you're calling me for, kind of unsure of myself. This is what you're calling me for, this is what I'm supposed to do. But now every day it's an excitement, it's a joy, it's a fulfilling to come in, to pray for people, even to fold the shirts and put out the orders. I do it with grace, I do it with the glory of the Lord each and every day because I'm satisfied. And every day I said, Lord, I do this for you. This is not for nobody else. This is for your glory. From folding the shirt to answering the prayer to checking the emails to whatever I have to do within Warrior Nation, I do it for His glory.
Kelly, thank you for letting me be a part of it. I'm very proud of you and the fact that I've been around to watch you grow as a woman, as a minister, and as a business person. I think that there's more in store for you, and like I told you the other day, if I'm not, I'll be driving the bus, on the bus, in the bus, somewhere around the way. But I'm glad to be a part of it, and I want to say hey to Seven, because Seven's going to be the first one that sees this, and then to Sino and the rest of the family. So, Warrior Nation, love you. Kelly, happy birthday.
I'm very proud of you. You're amazing. I'm so thankful for everything that you've done and that you're going to do for me. I pray that your business will go further than what it is now. You have inspired so many people. I love you. And one day, I can't wait to repay you. And happy birthday.
I love you to death. You're my biggest inspiration. You know I'm riding for you forever. You know I'm here for you forever. You know, whenever you need any type of help, creative idea, or someone just a hype man, you know I'm always here. And I'm very thankful for the opportunities you've given me and the light that you've shined and the way you believe in me and you push me to believe in the unbelievable. You know, I love you. Happy 42. Here's to 43, 44, 45, 68, 80, 100, 122, 200.
Kelly, I want to let you know that I love you. I thank God for you. I appreciate all the things that you've done, and I want to encourage you that the best is yet to come. You know, we've had these conversations a whole lot of times about what God is about to do this year. 2022 is your year. So watch God, rest on His promise, and enjoy the journey of 2022 and beyond.
Happy birthday, Kelly, from me, Carter, and Ashton. Say happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right, we're gonna do it on three. We're gonna count three. We're gonna say happy birthday, okay? All right, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Kelly.
I want to say that I'm proud of you. I'm very, very, very proud of you. And as the oldest sibling, I feel like I can speak for our parents. They would be very, very, extremely proud of you as well. I'm proud and I admire your creativity. I admire the way you inspire and motivate people, and I admire the way you just continue to shine. And so, happy birthday. I think you're an amazing woman of God, and may God continue to bless you with His amazing grace.
I haven't seen her in so long, and I know it's partly my fault, but Kelly, I love you. I have grown so much just from being with you and knowing you, and your faith is just inspiring, just your life in general, and you are such a kind and generous and loving and loyal friend that I've ever had, and I just absolutely appreciate you and love you. I am so thankful that you invited me to pray with you from the very beginning, And just to look at your life now and see where God has taken you is just simply amazing. And I pray many, many more blessings to come, many, many more blessings in the future. And I just thank God for you.
The message I have for the amazing Madam Millionaire Pastor Kels herself is to just, like, keep doing you. No matter what. I know there's a lot of times people can come in and say, I would have done it this way, or you should have done it this way, or if I was you, I would do it this way. Like, we already know none of that matters, and we know that when we, focus on what we know to focus on, like we did in the beginning with the prayer, like everything else comes into play. Like, even when it comes to photo shoots, when it comes to picking out stuff to sell, not knowing what to sell, knowing when to release this and when not to release it. Like, we always got those answers in prayer. And because we are getting into that presence again, like, we already know that the store is going to take off to this next level that we've seen to come. And your boutique that you have getting ready to drop is going to be amazing. Like, everything is going to that next level. Even the fitness, like, all of this is it's going to the next. Even the cups, like, that we've added. So it's going to the next level. So just know, hey, just keep doing you, because nothing else matters. What anybody says, all the naysayers, we already know they have nothing against us. So you got it.
One day we were in LA. We were at a specific mall. I don't remember the name of the mall. We were in LA and we were going through all those fancy stores, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Chanel. We're going through all those stores, these high-end stores, these global brand stores. And we came out of, I think it was Gucci or Louis Vuitton, and I began to prophesy over my wife right there. And I said, you know what? Your store is going to get to this level. It's going to get to this level. And she just received it with all of her heart. And so that is going to be the next phase for Warrior Apparel, and I just want to say how proud of her I am for her, how happy I am for her, how proud I am for her. She is definitely an entrepreneur to the core, a businesswoman to the core, and I wanted everybody to really see this component. It's not all that she is, but I wanted them to see this component. Her mind works a certain way. She seems to always have an understanding where things need to go and how quick they need to get there. And so once she realizes that, man, she puts everything she's got behind it and just makes it happen. If I had a few words I would use to describe her, she's a woman who makes things happen. And as a husband, man, I'm blessed to have a wife like that, a wife who just makes things happen. So I may come up with the direction and the compass and the strategy, but what is that if there's nobody to make it happen? So that's something really awesome that I see in my wife, Dr. Kellieagueze. So I'm so proud of her, and I can only imagine in this next phase where this is going. We have some idea as to where it's going, but don't mistake in this. It's not just the intellect, it's not just the professionalism. There's a whole lot of prayer that goes behind this. It's got a wind of its own, and that wind is the wind of God, the wind of the Spirit. God is the one. He's the key factor behind this whole thing. He's the one blessing her. Don't get mad at her blessing. You may end up getting mad at God. God is the secret behind her success, and that's always her priority. You know how many times I've heard Kelly say, I will close down this store if it's going to interfere with my private time with God, with my intimacy with God. We've had days where we had to literally close it down so the whole staff can come together and focus on prayer. So, if you don't know somebody's story, you just think it's all about the clothes. For her, the clothes is simply a means, one of those other means or mediums or platforms to showcase God, to advance the cause of Christ. And she gives a lot of that money away. I tell you, you have no idea. Whatever profits she makes from this clothing, I feel for her sometimes. It's like, okay, but I'm not gonna stop a giving woman. I am not gonna stop a generous woman. She gives it all away. She gives it, she does it so she has the power to be a blessing to her generation. So, Boo, I take off my hats for you. I'm proud of you, and can't wait to see what God will do next through your clothing line. All right? I got much respect for you. Love you.